Alright, newcomers, long-time subscribers, welcome back to the Devious Grunt Alliance channel. In this video, as you might suspect, I'm going to be talking about who I think the top 10 Halo 5 pros are right now. This is going to be the first of two videos I have designated for Worlds, the other one being the actual predictions for Worlds, so exciting stuff. Before anything though, I do want to give a quick shout out to all of you guys. We actually broke 1 million views recently, which is an awesome number to hit. Big thanks to anyone who's been watching, you guys are awesome. Moving on though, top 10 Halo pros isn't quite as easy as a question to answer. Anyone could just say all of Splice, all of Optic, and 2 others and be done with it. But ranking players that way isn't as simple as numbers and placings are laid out. A lot of Halo pros actually agree that in a hypothetical sense, if you had the quote-unquote best 4 players in the game on the same team, it didn't necessarily mean that they would be the best team in the league. There are a lot of underappreciated elements to a player that stats don't entirely capture, and this video is going to be taking these factors into account. When ranking, I'm not necessarily saying that each player in succession is better than the next. It's more of what they individually offer for their team. At the end of the day, however, this is my opinion, so disagreements are bound to come, but hey, that's what makes for nice discussion.
To get the conversion towards the end, so we could again see Optic Gaming struggling to close out a game.
And Neptune taking out Royal 2 in a straight up one-on-one fight again.
Starting off number 10, we have who I consider to be the #1 breakout player of 2018, that player being Neptune. Only 15 years old, in the short amount of time he's been playing, he's already proven to be a master at movement mechanics and has boasted the 5th highest KD ratio at Orlando.
It has got to be so frustrating trying to track down Neptune. He is using his teammates as a perfect just complete wall to get through, to try and get to him. And once you get through, he's going to be just on the opposite side of the map. He's just constantly rotating, flies into the window. He's going to finish off the kill. What a move by this young kid, just coming into the scene, showing why he's got some skill to play at the top.
Some saying he is essentially keeping his entire team afloat. His role in the Renegade's roster fits much like how the player Renegade fit for Straight Rippin' 1 year ago, being the key slayer and overall X factor of that team. The only reason to have him at number 10 is because he hasn't had as much LAN experience as the other players on this list. While Renegades as a team didn't play too hot at Columbus, I still without a doubt see the most potential in Neptune for the future, and is definitely someone you should look out for at Seattle.
In the sniper, may have been none to be honest. They're gonna, oh no, leash.
Moving on to number 9, we have Mikwin, my self-proclaimed MVP of Worlds 2017. He was playing absolutely phenomenal by the end of 2017 and has proven to remain consistent with his playstyle in his transition to Rec. Sometimes you'll see moving players fall into a hole where they'll be unable to fit into the shoes of a previous teammate, but this isn't the case here. He's a dominant slayer, puts consistent damage into the enemy team, and he was actually one of the highest in both Orlando and Columbus.
We saw Tox get out to that hot start, 60 or so points without response. Now we're seeing Reciprocity doing what Tox did to them. This is how closely matched all of these top 4 teams are, and it's going to be Mikwin who gets taken down by Mikwin.
A year ago, he'd be number 3 on this list. The only reason to have him at number 9 is because someone else on his team stepped up even more. At number 8, we have another player who's made a lot of noise this year, that player being Saiyan. Now, I don't think it would be very far-fetched to say that Saiyan is one of the most consistent players in the game. He really can do it all. He has an amazing shot, is extremely intelligent, and makes some of the most calculated plays in the game. And this is the thing about Saiyan, I really want you to pay attention, if you haven't already, to see how he plays at Seattle, because I guarantee you'll see something unique from the other players.
And there's the overshield guy, Saiyan trying to make a play here. He does have some time to spare. Great shots on Arctic for the cliffhanger. He is going to contest onto the bottom middle. It is going to be the overshield guy. That's going to be all the players. Watch out, watch out. Oh my God, he almost getting taken down.
He
and then
does.
RKO on the Sabinator, and he's going for the double kill.
He gets it. He gets it. 97 gets the double kill, and you're going to see Saiyan play that down so perfectly.
He's shown improvement since his breakout in 2017, and not only placings, but also for himself. At this rate, it's really only upwards for him. Moving on, I really see number 7 to 8 on equals, but at number 7, gonna throw a bit of a curveball here. we have Snakebite. Now, putting Snakebite on number 7 seemed impossibly painful because it really doesn't do justice of how good he is. Side by side, him and Royal 2, since jumping on status quo back in Halo Reach, have really taken matters into their own hands. If it wasn't first place, it was second for these guys. I consider Snakebite to be the most intelligent player in the game, and is really able to fit whatever role he wants. If he wants to snipe, he can snipe. If he wants to slay, he can slay. If he wants to run OBJ, he can do that too. Snakebite really is the jack of all trades.
To get a little bit of dominance, what's been happening in the Halo scene for quite some time now. Optic Gaming has been reigning supreme. This is Snipdown's turn for vengeance. Obviously, last time at the Halo World Championship 2016, he got slapped around when he was on Evil Geniuses. Times are changing, however, as we're talking about that Pistola losing.
Jumping on to number 6, we have the other half of the dynamic duo, Royal 2. Now, arguably another questionable placement by me. Allow me to explain. First off, I think if there's one play from the 2016 season that everyone remembers, it's this one.
Already running the flag back to their base. It's absolutely right there, and there's a rec pack for you guys. That no scope just started off right, but we're back on par with Royal 2.
Oh my god! Triple kill! Oh my god! What a way! We just start off Championship Sunday! Royal 2! You absolute god!
Royal 2, number 1 Canadian player in the world, was easily number 1 all around in the game just a year ago. Him and Frosty and Snakebite really took turns dominating this exact spot. He is undeniably one of the best snipers in the game, and actually had the highest KD ratio across both 2018 events so far by a considerable margin. Now, a lot of this is actually attributed to his incredibly slow playstyle. Being the designated sniper in his team, you'll often see him lingering around the outskirts of a map, creating openings for his team, or just playing sneaky in general. It's not often that you'll see a Royal 2 flying across the map like someone as aggressive as Renegade. In fact, it's kind of the unorthodox and arguably new meta of gameplay style that members of Splice have adopted that's really pushed Royal 2 into adopting a quicker playstyle. I think it's because of this reason why we haven't seen as many individual plays out of him as we've seen in the past. Moving into the top 5, the first player to round out the cusp is Renegade. Now, Renegade is just so unbelievably talented for the short amount of time he's been playing, it's insane. It felt so strange putting him above players like Snakebite and Royal 2 just in comparison of accomplishments, but Renegade really is on his own now.
Drop down to go for that flag recovery. I think some amateur players in certain cases just think, I have to get that flag back as soon as possible. No, most importantly, get the kills. You get the kills first. That flag recovery's coming with it.
Christmas! Oh my goodness gracious, I cannot even believe it. Renegade, you need to stop. I gotta take a shower. It was so dirty.
This kid is a freak, following up with a perfect kill over at Blue Cave, but I'm somewhat concerned. His team hasn't gotten over to pull this flag yet.
He's essentially the second coming of Snipdown, seeing immediate success at his first LAN event, and that actually remains to be as his lowest placing, period. Renegade is that player where if you're making a good and sneaky play, that he'll just put it completely to shame with a ridiculous no-scope. And while that sounds like luck, it's really not. He's just so consistent with it that it really just makes up his raw talent.
Slow this game down, but as long as they do that, Snipdown is just going to hit those shots all day long. My word, this man is just a machine. Snipdown by name. Snipdown by nature, this guy.
Now, Snipdown really climbed his way up this list. I had him lingering around the 7th-6th spot initially until I had saw what he had done at Columbus. He is, in my opinion, the biggest playmaker in Halo 5. He creates so many openings for his team in the most random of situations that can completely turn around a game.
Gain that 3 kills and that flag run. No, oh my God! Jesus Christ, Eric Rona!
It doesn't matter if he's down by 15 kills or it's tied 49-49. He plays the same, dominates the same, and never cracks under pressure. This isn't anything too new, too. We've seen this across multiple iterations of Halo, and it's just so impressive that he's kept his streak up for so long. Snipdown had the 2nd and 3rd highest KD ratios at both Orlando and Columbus, just being behind Royal 2. which is quite impressive given how much more different his playstyle is. He's a great team leader and will always be vocal when appropriate. He really is shaping up to be one of the greatest Halo players of all time. Moving on to number 3, we have Stellar. Now, Stellar, in my opinion, has the greatest shot in the game. He's just so consistent, whether he's falling off a map or just thrusting while one shot, he'll always get the bullets in where he needs them. It's actually insane. There are very few players who can take him on a full-fledged gunfight, as he's really mastered the mechanics of the game, and him and the rest of Splice have really changed the meta in general with their aggressive playstyles. You'll actually see that it's Stellar who puts in the most damage on his team.
It makes me think that Team Liquid, is just trying to rotate around towards the snipe side, and that's exactly what they did.
Oh, and Stellar hits the no-scope to make it a double on top. That's the triple kill.
He went to the hospital on Friday night at Columbus, yet still came back the next 2 days to dominate and win the entire event. Being one of the initial breakout players of Halo 5 back in 2016, his track record really has been an incredible success story. Now the only question remains is who can take it away from him. Moving on to number 2, an incredibly difficult decision I had to make, but I decided to put Frosty here. Now, Frosty is the literal incarnation of Halo 5. Any aspect of Halo 5 you name, and he can do that, and he could do it like no other player can. He's a playmaker, highly intelligent, and can hit shots like you would not believe. For the first 2 years of Halo 5, he really was unchallenged in terms of skill. No other player could move around the map and get into crazy positions as well as he could. He really shaped what is still considered top tier Halo 5.
And one thing you've just seen there, TJ Top Rockets did manage to get control of the rocket launcher, but has used both of the weapons. Frosty ends the game with a disgusting no-scope.
It wasn't until mid to late 2017 when a new wave of players came in that Frosty started to be met with some individual competition. He could easily be number 1 on this list, but I put number 1 at the number 1 spot for a reason. Before we get there though, just a few honorable mentions. We have the one and only Lethal, the essential savior of Tox. Highly intelligent, he'll always be making the right plays when necessary. Spartan, one of the breakout players of H2A, easily the most aggressive player in Halo 5. It's only with his aggressiveness comes his shortcomings. And finally, Pistola, the rather unnoticed member of Team Envious. He really does a lot of the dirty work behind the scenes and has really been looking considerably better as of recently. But anyways. Never in my mind would have thought a player like Schatzi would climb to the top as quickly as he did. I actually remember back in 2016 hearing murmurs of some insanely skilled 14-year-old named Schatzi, but I never really thought too much of it. All of a sudden, 2017 comes along and his outbreak begins.
Now watching some spawns, and looks like he's getting ready for a flank. Some shots at top mid. They're running the flag top mid. What is happening? They're about to tie this game up, and you've got a player flanking in behind them. Both teams, like you said, I mean, playing absolutely so
gosh, what
fast.
did Schatzi just do to that player?
Like what I'm seeing here from Booby Dooby, knew there was another player around the glass, decides to push around and try and flank these players. Here comes the help from his teammate. Schatzi going huge though, versus Schatzi. Schatzi with no fear whatsoever lands that headshot.
Schatzi, now 16 years old, has proven to be the master of Halo 5. For so long, Frosty was unchallenged at the top of the competition until Schatzi came along to rain on his parade. Forming his own roster with other newer players, Schatzi is now a part of what I consider to be the best Halo 5 team to date. Anyways, that about wraps up my top 10 list. If you agree, disagree, please let me know in the comments, and feel free to post your own. Like Halo 5, lists like these tend to change, so I'm sure a year from now, it'll be very different. But as always, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know quite a few of you have been requesting this one for a while. Leave a like if you did, and I will see you guys next time.